Good evening, everybody. It's Charlie, and welcome back to another video on the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. Just before we get into tonight's video in more detail, make sure that you are smashing a like on it. It really does help get the video out there to more people. Please subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. Hit the notification bell, and of course, get all of your thoughts and opinions on the topics raised in today's video into the comment section down below. All of the engagement really does help get the video out there, so very much appreciated, guys. I just thought I'd jump on this evening and obviously just give my thoughts on a topic that is doing the rounds at the minute. I've seen a few other creators do a video on this, and I've seen the question asked a few times on social media. So I thought I'd jump on and share my thoughts and opinions on who I believe the best player for Leeds United has been so far this season. Now, I understand that there's a lot of contenders in the team at the minute. A lot of them are players that have come good sort of since the turn of the year. So I'm just going to speak about the season as a whole in its entirety. And hopefully you all agree. But if not, again, happy to disagree with people. Share your thoughts and opinions into the comment section on who you believe has been the best player. I've narrowed it down to a top five, who I will go through that list in a second in terms of from fifth up to the number one player. It was a real tough decision between 1 and 2, and you'll understand why when I reveal that. But like I said, there's been a lot of contenders for player of the season so far. But like I said, I've narrowed it down to a top 3. So as I say, guys, get your thoughts in as the video is live. But yeah, starting at number 5. Is Ethan Ampadu for me. Ethan Ampadu, obviously, was signed in from Chelsea for 7 million quid in the summer, and I feel like it's been 7 million well spent. I thought, the first half of the season where he was predominantly in the double pivot alongside Glenn Kamara, I feel like Ethan Ampadu was just solid. Real good tackler, good reader of the game, good passer of the ball, and just cool, calm, and collected in that number 6 position. Obviously, was always kind of dropping deep to help out the centre backs, which at the time was Joe Rodon and Pascal Struijk in that sort of first half of the season. And I feel like he's adapted to life at Leeds United incredibly well. Seems like a really good guy, but more importantly, his feet are doing the talking. And I just think Chelsea have really missed out on letting him go. The last few clubs that he's been on loan at haven't been great. I think he's been relegated in each of the last 3 seasons with his respective loan clubs. So it made sense for him to make a permanent move where he can get settled and enjoy his football. And I feel like he's really doing that at the minute. So yeah, Ethan Ampadu is my 5th in the top 5 best players this season so far for me. In at number 4 then. Now, this was an interesting one as well. In at number 4 for me is Daniel James, a player who I never... If you'd have told me at the start of the season that I'd be doing a video on the best players for Leeds United so far, and Dan James was in my top 5, I would have laughed at you. But he's proving me wrong. He's proving the majority of the fan base wrong as well, who did write this guy off. And look, I know it's the Championship and it's a drop down in level, but you've still got to play what's in front of you. And I do feel a lot of it is down to the confidence that Daniel Farke is putting in, and to the system that Daniel Farke implements as well. I feel like it really brings out Dan James's attributes, which is his pressing, his pace. And I do feel like when he's in the team consistently, like he has been up until recently, the end product can be there as well. I feel like that was the frustrating thing with Dan a lot of the time, is that he'd get into the right positions, but the end product was always poor. This season, the assists have been amazing. The goals, some of the finishes that he's produced have been very, very good. Finishes that he wouldn't have been able to have produced whilst on loan at Fulham last season and his Leeds career prior to that. What we're forgetting with Dan James is that Bielsa signed him and predominantly played him up front as a centre forward when he's about 4 foot tall, let's be honest. But yet he has scored a few headers this season. And then, all of the other managers that had him afterwards were just not able to get the best out of him. But Daniel Farke, like I said previously, has a system where Dan James's attributes are best able to be utilised, in my opinion. And like I said, he's proving me wrong, he's proving the fans wrong. And it's really, really good to see him playing football with a smile on his face. Obviously, recently, he's had an injury, which meant Willie Gnonto has come into the team and has been performing well. Gnonto is not in my top 5, spoiler alert. As I said, I'm doing it on the entirety of this season. But I feel like Dan James has really proved himself this season, and it's really good to see. So Dan James is my number 4. In at number 3 is Jorginho Ruter. Again, a player that most of the fan base did write off last season. Signed for 35 million quid from Hoffenheim in the January window of last year. While we were in the Premier League, he signed. Then Marsh obviously was sacked shortly afterwards. Then we had Javi Gracia, who couldn't really get the best out of him. Then it was, Skabala, Sam Allardyce. Those managers, with all due respect, we're not going to get the best out of Jorginho Rutter. And again, it is a drop down in quality. But for me, he's been the surprise package. The skills, the goals, the assists have just been amazing with Georgie. And the character that he brings to the side as well is amazing, and long may it continue. So that's number 3, Jorginho Ruter. And as I said at the beginning, guys, the top 2 was very hard to decide on who should go first and who should go second. But I ultimately decided that at number 2, it is Joe Rodon. Joe Rodon, obviously on loan from Spurs. Hopefully we can make that a permanent deal in the summer, because this guy is an absolute Rolls Royce, an absolute brick wall. Reads the game so well. The tackles, the interceptions, the headers, the fact that he can dribble out with the ball unfazed, cool, calm and collected on the ball. And since he's been in our defence this season, we have been amazing. And obviously since the turn of the year, when Ethan Ampadu has gone alongside him, they've conceded 1 goal since January the 1st. Again, some doing, and it makes a change to see a defensive unit look solid at Leeds United for a change. So yeah, Joe Rodon is my number 2. And at number 1, I think you can all kind of guess who the number 1 is now. It had to be Crysencio Somerville. 15 goals in the league this season with about 9 assists or something like that? The numbers speak for itself. Kriya's really come on this season. A player that I probably wouldn't have had in my starting 11 at the start of the season if, like, the likes of Sinistera and that had stayed. But he's really, really proved himself this season. Again, probably down to the confidence that Farker has put in him and the system that we play, similar to Dan James. But, the output that Kriya is producing for us at the minute is a major reason why Leeds United are in the position that we are. He's arguably one of the best players in the division. And I feel like he's well on course to get the player of the season for Leeds United this season. Like I said, the output's amazing. He seems like a great guy, a great character, and the goals and the assists that he's providing for the team is amazing at the minute. And it's really, really good to see him. One of my favourite players this season. So yeah, that is my top 5, guys. My number 1 is obviously Crysencio Somerville. Hit me up in the comment section, guys, with all your thoughts and opinions on who you believe the best player for Leeds United has been this season. On your way out of this video, guys, make sure you are liking it, make sure you're subscribing, and make sure you're hitting the notification bell. And I will see you tomorrow night for my match preview for the Leicester game. Make sure that you tune in for that. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you in a bit. Cheers.